Welcome to Small Lathe. I've been asked some time ago to show all my tools, basically speaking, in the shop. Now, I'd like to start with this one. This is an indicator. This is a compact indicator, as you can see. So while I'm going to discuss the tools I have in the shop, I'm not going to show really everything because most of these are sort of ubiquitous, starting from basic tools and chocks of the lathe you've already seen, stuff like that. I'm going to talk about measuring tools. I got this indicator from my brother. My brother is not a mechanic. He's not an engineer, but he does like to build machines like I do. And while I haven't shown this sort of aspect of machine building in my shop to you guys, I have been building machines for the past 30 years just for the fun of it. So next to me, there's a small ball mill. There's a wire turning machine that spirals two sets of wires together and all sort of that. So the story that goes with this tool is quite interesting. When I got it, the tip was bent, nearly broken, and it was very wobbly. You could literally see a spacing over here, and the sides were kind of mushed a bit. And he found it in a scrap bin, basically speaking. So he gave it to me and said, "Well, check what you could do with that." And I said, "Well, that's beyond my league." But this is, and I knew nothing of compact, but I knew that it was Swiss made because it says so over here. Don't know if you can see that. And I did find a local company named Avi Stern that fixes these, fixes basically mechanical equipment. I gave them the indicator and they did a marvelous job at it. They replaced the glass that was missing. They fixed the bounciness in the setup. It's really lovely, as brand new. So this was a nice find. Now I checked how much a brand new one like that would cost. It's a jaw-dropping number, guys. So this is really a good indicator. Now this actually brings us to our tools, and I'll try to do that briefly. You have seen me use this. This is a Mitutoyo um, caliper, obviously. On top of this Mitutoyo caliper, which I really like, I was given this by my dad. He also liked Mitutoyo. Their calipers and tools are really good. Not saying anything bad about US companies and so on, but this is a really nice company that makes really nice equipment. I also bought a micrometer, a Mitutoyo micrometer. And these are my basic tools. Now, from the same lot that was in the garbage, my brother gave me another tool. This is a massive Mitutoyo dial indicator, and it works. It's not, it's a bit jumpy, it does need some fixing, but it works really nicely. I'm going to oil it, clean it, see what I can do for it. And worst case scenario, we know how to fix these now. But let me show you what other tools I have. Over the years, I've bought several other items, such as this Chinese indicator. This is good enough for calibrating my lathe. I rather like it. Not that I wouldn't mind buying another one from Tutu, but this is pretty good. So if you're just starting and you don't have a ton of money like I do, I don't, then this is a good buy. This is really a nice one. Another tool that's really useful is an indicator. If you can't afford Mitutoyo, a Chinese one will do just fine. This is a Chinese it says the dial doesn't shift as readily as availably as this one. It's a bit hard and snug. And it's a copy of Mitutoyo. It's a Mitutogo GD or whatever they wrote it. And the dot is clearly somebody used an ink pen or something. So it works. It does work. It's fairly reliable, not too bouncy. I have used it. I'm pretty pleased with that. So you don't have to burn a ton of money on the good companies. But if you can afford it, I would highly recommend you do. So from now on, I'm going to be using this compact tool quite a bit. So this is going to be resting. Right. So what else? It also comes with a very similar copy of the Mitutoyo box. Let me show you the original box. The Mitutoyo micrometer comes in a box like that, and the cardboard box over it is this one. So as you can see, this is a very close copy of the Mitutoyo logo, including the lines. This is this is not nice. I don't like this sort of copy. At least make your own tools and say they're yours. If they suck, if they're good, whatever. Claim your brand, not just, somebody else's brand. Two other vital tools are Chinese indicators. These are digital indicators. I also bought sort of Chinese mount. Now, this is a quite a cute mount. It does work, but when I bought it, I did forget that I don't have anywhere to attach it to because my lathe body is made from aluminum. Another one is just similar. It has a cheaper mount, very low cost Chinese mount, but it's useful. It's actually the mount I use the most because it can attach to the mill shaft. Actually, the steel rod that holds the Unimat head and motor. So it's fairly flexible. It's very usable. I quite like it. One key advice with these tools, they are really nice. I really like them. This is about an inch long. This is half an inch long. And I bought this one first. And the warning about these is if you notice, I have the battery set aside. So these things actually burn through batteries. I had one and stored for 3 months. And when I opened it, the battery was gone. It just drained it completely. So I just store these battery free and they work quite nicely. These are Chinese. I think that China and India are producing, I wouldn't say very good or very high quality. Not that they can't, they can. For sure they can. But they're producing low tech or low cost tools, and for home machinists, that's okay because we don't have a ton of money and we can't afford expenses other can afford. For example, I would really love to have a digital caliper, a Mitutoyo digital caliper with hardened jaws, but this thing would cost me about $250, and in local currencies that's about 1,000 NIS. So that's a bit too much for my pocket. And again, it's you can afford that if you could justify the expense. That's okay. But this is a hobby. I'm not making any money with it. I'm just enjoying myself. So there's a limit to the things you can do. So you go around it. For example, um, a digital caliper would help because I'm in my almost 50s soon, and well, optivisors, they're a great expense. They're a low cost. They're really, really useful, especially if you're not in your 20s. So that's basically it. So for tools, that's it. That's all the tools I have. For lathe equipment, well, I have some more. I'll show you. Let's discuss taps. These are my Chinese taps. Um, Low cost, again. Must have been in a hurry. Got some chips here flying all over the place. There we go. So these are low cost. These are fairly user friendly. I love these because they're fast. They cut very well. It's easy to work with these. So this is a really nice tap set. It does come in a baggie, yes it does. It's not boxed well and so on, but that's life, you know. I don't have the space for all the boxes I'd like to store. Another tool set is something very similar. This is another tapping set. These are hex shanks and these cut really well. They have a drilling tip over here. I'll show you the big one. So you can actually drill through a plate or a sheet of metal or whatever, and then you just tap it through. To use these properly, all you need to do is a handheld screwdriver and you're done. A set of other types of drills. I've got all sets of carbide drill bits from China again. I have a tap wrench over here, and I have some actually unboxed even uh, wood drill bits with chamfering edges. So basically, we've got some chamfering drill bits over here, small ones, big ones, you know, all sort of. These tree bits are really lovely. I have a set of these. Actually, I have another set too. That's carbide. These are an interesting drill bit. I'm making a mess here. These are supposed to be sort of a cutting drill bit. So these are basically very sharp edges, and it works wonderfully with wood. I have tried sort of making a small channel with these with wood. Worked just great. Um, I highly recommend these as well. Again, low cost, China, eBay, etc. This is called an umbrella bit. I have used it for one of my projects. Just bought it specifically for it because I needed this tiny umbrella. But again, the set is inexpensive. I don't see I have really a lot of use for that, seriously, but that's it. My most favorite bits are actually these. These are very hard to find in Israel. These are short drill bits, hex base. Allows me a stronger bind and they don't twist in the small lathe. The lathe does not have really strong chucks. So, and I have a 6 millimeter, 5 millimeter. Right now they're housed together, but I'll find the box for the smaller one. And we have an 8 and a 10, as you can see. So this is basically basic tools you can buy from eBay and Amazon. They're not too expensive. I also have a large, I don't know, everybody's large is respectable for a 5 square meter shop. This is large, okay? I know some of you US guys are probably on the floor right now laughing to death. Large set of tools, he said. But for me, it's large. Yes, it is. So we have carbide end mills, ball end mills, high-speed steel, all sort of small-ish tools. So yeah, I try to buy whatever I need at the moment and not just store a ton of stuff. We don't have garage shops here, garage sales like the US guys have. So it's expensive, it's hard to get. You probably have to drive to Tel Aviv to get it, so it's not really that simple. This is a dovetail cutter if you're wondering what it is. And the previous one was a Woodruff key slot cutter. This one. So yeah, I'm buying these per project. I have to buy each and every one. I don't have the luxury of garage shops you guys in the US have, so enjoy that. I do envy you guys. 4-jaw independent chuck. Every jaw can move independently using a key. And a lathe dog, which I've never used, by the way. And I'm looking forward to the day I'll start using it because it looks brand new. It's not new, obviously, but it looks brand new. So this, and I bought this one. This is not an original. This is a knockoff from China. Actually, if I remember correctly, no, this one's from China. My 4-jaw. Let me get it off the lathe. There we go. So we have another chuck here. And these chucks are no larger than, well, I'd say 6 centimeters, about a bit above 3/8 of an inch above 2 inch in diameter. These are roughly 50 millimeters or 2 inches in diameter, more or less. And let's see about that. Yeah, just shy of that. So these are really useful. If you do have a Unimat and you're thinking of 3 chucks or 1 chuck, if you want to buy just 1 chuck, this is the chuck to go. It's vastly my most favorite chuck. It's also been abused considerably. A lathe stop is the first tool I did once I realized how silly you can get if you don't mind your proximity to the chuck. So I have made a very simple lathe stop. There's a video on that, I think, I'm not sure. And if not, it's really easy, simple to do. If you have the need to buy or want to buy another tool, to have 2 chucks, so one and another, the independent 4-jaw chuck, which is really accurate, and an indicator, of course, and the 3-jaw chuck. And this has been something I've been wanting to buy. I saw another channel. It's wonderful for square, rectangular, stock, and it's really useful. For my small lathe, it's extremely useful because the shanks of taps are square, so you can hold the square shank. What else do we have? I have 2 parting tools. Let me get these back. Right, so we have 2 parting tools. Actually bought 3. Apparently I bought the wrong one on the 3rd and I gave it to a friend. But it doesn't matter. If you have a Unimat, I have one name for these wonderful tools otherwise, and it's useless. These are useless. These are useless because the Unimat motor does not have the power to keep on turning when you're plunging it into the metal. I've tried to play with angles, I've tried to grind it, and so on. It does not matter. It does not have the power. I have been able to part stuff before, mainly really thin or really small aluminum tubing or rods, but I mean really small, like 1/8 of an inch, 3 millimeter diameter. So these are kind of useful for larger lathes, but not for Unimat tools. This is a tool I've made for the lathe. This is a steady rest. I've also got a buffing wheel for it that attaches to my... This is one of the most useful tool I've ever made for the Unimat. It's really simple. M6 from one side, M8 from the other side. It's really simple. And you've got a universal mount, so you can... I'm using this one as a plate mount. I can use some glue or whatever, double-sided tape, and hold some sheet metal and just turn it down if I want to. I'm using the screws for other things. I've got a nut as a spacer here, so this is really useful. It's really ridiculous and it's really useful, so I highly recommend you make one. To be honest, I thought I'd be using this one a lot more, and this tool rest is actually quite nice, even if I say so myself. It's not precision, as you can see. I didn't know exactly how to hold the work back then. It was really my start, my beginning, and it's not that bad. It actually works, so I'm pretty pleased with that. It's all brass, and I do have plans of making another one, so that's about that. this is the last of it, then let's go briefly over it. This is my sort of universal, if you'd like to call it this way, but this is my spring-loaded support for tapping. So I just got the little nut all the way out. It's a bit hard to get it in. There we go. So basically speaking, you have taps that have sort of a hole or cavity or angled cavity at the bottom like this, and so you can support them like that. And you have those that are basically have a protrusion or an angled tip at the back end, so you can support them this way. So this is interchangeable. You can actually choose the one you want and just lock it, and it cannot come out anymore. And you can switch. So that's one tool. There we go. And another tool is a bumping tool. An idea from ClickSpring, which is really a brilliant idea. I have another one over here. A bit rusty, but works. I've made both. This is the Unimat Live Center. I have made another Live Center because this is tiny. And if you want a tube or you want to do something a bit larger, then you need a bigger tool. And this is fairly recent. You probably have seen it. This is my tool rest, my tool mount for wood turning and resin turning. Last but not least, one of my most favorite channels recommended this tool. And this is, I'm using it as a ring mount when I'm making a ring for my wife because it's exactly her finger size, which is 15.8 millimeters in diameter. And when you lock it, the ring is snug over here. I'm probably going to make another one with a smaller nut screw. Sorry. But all in all, this is fairly simple and very cute. And this is a tip from Joe Pye. He has a brilliant channel. Go look it up. So that's it. Hope you enjoyed. Hope I haven't bored you to death. This is my little shop. This is my really tiny compact shop. And actually, you're watching the only free space that I have here. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you soon.